No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by our friends at Play Now. Along with Dave Manouk, along with Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss the number one most pressing issue facing the Winnipeg Jets, one that might require a round table, red tape discussion panel. Serious conversations afoot need to be had about Kyle Connor and his goal-scoring slump. He has gone 2 periods without getting a goal. The Winnipeg Jets are collapsing right before our very eyes as a result of Kyle Connor and his slacking offensively. What are the Winnipeg Jets going to do about Kyle Connor and his struggles? He says, tongue firmly in cheek. An absolute dominant effort for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. A 6-1 victory over the woeful Vancouver Canucks. I can say woeful. We've seen the Jets beat some teams this year. This might be the worst performance by an opposition team, by an opposition squad that we've seen all season long, gentlemen. Nice to see both of you this evening.
I don't know. Nice to see you boys as well. Nice to see everyone joining us in the chat. I don't know who it was a bigger night for, if it was a bigger night for Kyle Connor or Victor Shabatowski, who almost won $100,000. And I think he follows IC or watches IC because at least he follows me on Twitter. So obviously, unfortunately, Victor,
are you sure that wasn't somebody posing as Victor Shabatowski?
Well, it's possible, I guess, but I don't think it was. But yeah, I mean, it seems like those 3 goals, guys, were scored like a week ago, right? Like it was so early in the game. And then obviously, Connor had a few good chances after that, almost scored 4 and got Victor Shabatowski $100,000. So maybe we'll see him in the chat, hopefully, but obviously, he would have liked a couple more goals, but what a dominant performance by the Jets top line. Just a dominant performance overall. And yeah, you're right, Drew. I mean, it's hard to believe that this team shut out the Toronto Maple Leafs in their last game. And obviously, this was the 5th game of a 5-game road trip, right, Dave? And they've lost 4 of 5 games. But yeah, this Canucks team, guys, you forget, was a 109-point team last year.
Yeah.
And it's generally the same group of players. The core of the team is the same, right? So it was a woeful performance, as you said, Drew, by the Canucks, but also give the Jets credit. Mm-hmm. They were all over the Canucks. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact, guys, that they kept the foot on the gas in the 3rd period. They added a couple more goals, or at least one more goal, right? Because there was 2, I think, in the 2nd period. So yep. I like how the Jets stuck to it, scored another goal on the power play, and made sure that the Canucks had 0 chance of coming back in this hockey game.
Well, it's funny because before the game got underway, TSN had a conversation between our friend Craig Button and Gino Retta, and it was like, how big is the gap between the Winnipeg Jets and the Vancouver Canucks? And I can tell you right now, it's a big one. It is a very big
chasm, Dave.
Gap. It is. Yeah, a gap would be too minor. It is. That is a.
What do you say, Drew? A kangaroo?
No, he said a canyon. That is as disconnected a team.
What about the Canyon Arrow?
No, how about the Grand Canyon is where I was going with that.
All right. Well, both of you are right. It is a chasm. It is a canyon. It is a large gap in between those 2 hockey teams. And one team was very connected and the other team was very not connected, to say that eloquently as I can. But this was a performance, and it was a interesting first because it was kind of a whole hum. But the fact of the matter is that, Vancouver, you can say that but Drew, as you started with, this has not been an overly taxing schedule. They had an optional this morning. They practiced in Winnipeg yesterday at 1. So there really isn't any excuse like, oh, it's the last game of the road trip. Like, guys, like there's always a way to make an excuse, right? Oh, if they lose the next game in Vancouver, is that because it was the first game of a homestand after a long road trip. Like, I'm just saying that the excuses are they win the game. There's no excuse. There's always an excuse when you lose. And the fact of the matter is they weren't even in this hockey game. The Jets from their top line all the way down, and Mike McIntyre from the Winnipeg Free Press, and I know you like this stat. I saw you retweeted it, but it was shocking because on the first 3 goals for Kyle Connor, 3 of the Canucks lines, every single guy took a -1, and all 3 D pairings were on. So he scored against the top 3, and then eventually all 4 lines had been scored on. So just not a good effort collectively from a Canucks team. Like, in the conversation between, and I'm not comparing Hughes and Morrissey after one game, but nobody from the Canucks, I was there for 2 of the 3 periods. Nobody from the Canucks stood out in a positive way. Yeah. And that's a Canucks team that just doesn't look like they're interested in doing anything as a collective group.
It's almost like 2 of their best forwards hate each other. So, wow. I wonder if there's a connection between how they played and how they've been playing and that fact. We are going to bring you Scott Arneal's post-game media availability here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg with you on this Tuesday night. We see the assembled media is rolling into the Matt Frost Media Center.
I think Scott Arneal, Drew, might actually skip to the podium tonight.
He's just going to elevate his way over there, just going to hover, on the proverbial cloud 9. For as impressive, the Jets win on Saturday was impressive against Colorado Avalanche, and they deserve full marks for this. This was just them embarrassing their opponent. Their opponent just put up no effort, and the Winnipeg Jets said, okay, if you want to play like that, well, you can't come into here. You can't come into Winnipeg and play like that. We're just going to end the game, 39 seconds into the second period once they made it 4-0. I'll be charitable and say that even when it was 3-0, it wasn't quite over, but the way the Canucks played in that first period, it certainly looked that way. It's hard to believe the same Vancouver Canucks team went into Toronto on Saturday night and shut out the Maple Leafs, and then they come out and they lay this kind of performance here in Winnipeg. Here's Scott Arneal.
Scott, how would you describe that first period for Kyle Connor? I know it was dominant for the team, but for him specifically?
Yeah, pretty impressive. Obviously we had talked, I think, a couple of weeks ago about our starts, and we've been getting a lot better at it, getting kind of out of the gate, and thought we did that tonight as a group. They made a mistake, not a mistake, but they turned the puck over, and we obviously it was bang bang play right in the back of the net, and just like a lot of what we did in that first period, kind of got off in playing our game right away, and certainly was the difference.
For Cole Perfetti, he's worked on other parts of his game, but for him, I thought on Saturday he got to the blue paint pretty well. Yeah. What's it like for him to get a reward, a couple of points here?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest sort of the difference, as I mentioned this morning. Last year he went through a stretch where, he's having a tough time, whether it was scoring or getting points, and it felt like he was getting farther and farther away from the net. Now he's staying in the fight. He's winning in a lot of his one-on-one confrontations or battles, and again, he's playing, making plays. He's getting in there, and he does that. That's when he's at his best.
To your point about targeting starts that you weren't probably the happiest with before Christmas around that time there, a lot of teams have issues like that, and they'll plague them all year. What is it about your team that you're able to target an issue like that and get a response?
Yeah, you know what? It's just kind of staying on top of them, I guess, is the biggest way. About just kind of drilling into home about simplifying early on, instead of trying to make a high-risk play like this, as simple as possible. We know when we get pucks in, and you can, through video, through talking, showing guys doing it in the games. Our forecheck is real strong. When it is, when we're on, that's when the offensive zone time really goes up, and I think the guys see that. I look at the game in Colorado. I know we lost that New Year's one, but our first 30 minutes was really strong, and it was because we did a lot of those things, and it just kind of, we've been doing a lot more of it, and I think the guys recognize it amongst themselves, the buy-in to get off to a good start, your first couple of shifts to be strong, and that'll lead to, a strong period for us.
To your point this morning about teams coming in and showing you their best, it seems like teams are coming in with, a plan for your power play now. But as the game goes on, it's almost like your guys are figuring out the weakness in that power play. Just a thought on your power play's ability to learn in game to get those late power play goals.
Yeah, I think there's a combination of different things that happen. It's your players, it's their hockey IQ and their knowledge, and they recognize that, that there's certain things that maybe in this tonight that Vancouver might be looking to take away. But it's not a lot different than our PK that all of a sudden, okay, here's what you think they're, sometimes they're going to this certain look and then they change it off and might take you one, sort of run through it to figure it out. And that's what happens with the power play, whether that's the players' IQ, the coaches that, we make some adjustments that we see that might be beneficial to us. And that's all part of kind of on the fly. And, I think that's one thing right now. We're sort of multi-dimensional when it comes to our power play. There's different areas where we can strike, and that's something we sort of started in training camp and mentioned about everybody's a threat, and that's what we're seeing. I mean, I don't know how that second unit didn't score in the second period with all the quality chances they got, but they found the hole, and they found the spot, and they got some great looks off it.
Kyle Connor was asked about his breakaway, and he said that he had a couple of plans, and he was waiting to see what the goalie did in response to him. Some guys move that fast, some guys have fast hands, but his brain is going at 1,000,000 miles a minute to be able to do that. How does that happen? Can you put that into perspective of how elite that is?
I was always jealous because you hear those skill guys, those great players, they say it's like they slow down and go in slow motion. I was the opposite. My brain was going 100 miles an hour. But it's exactly what they say, that they get in there, and he's thinking about probably 3 different moves that he might try. The normal person is just probably trying to do something as fast as possible. But he has, I've seen him kind of do 3 different moves all in sort of the same practice against against their goalies and stuff. And, that shot is the threat, so that for him to go to fake it at all, I'm sure that, froze the goaltender like he did. And that's just another skill set that he has.
Gabriel Velarde with a few primary assists, and it seems like many shifts, he knocks at least one puck down.
Yeah.
Seems like maybe an underrated aspect of his game.
Yeah, I don't know if he played baseball or not, but he has good hand-eye, that's for sure. We've talked often about him in tight areas. He can make plays, and we saw that goal in New York where he knocked it out of the air and made that great play to fly. You see lots of it. Again, another guy that has a skill set that it's hard to teach. Sometimes these guys just, they do things that you just kind of, you go, wow, that's another great opportunity, another great situation.
And then you mentioned the PK just a moment ago, sort of in context of the power play too. Seems like a little bit of a warm into a hot streak maybe going on for that PK. What are you liking from it?
Yeah, I think it's cohesive. I think that we're moving together. We're in sync about what's kind of coming with the opposition. I think we're starting to figure out a little bit some pairs here on how we're working it. Big thing, Sammy's back. That helps that a lot. But I just think that we're taking the threat away, sort of recognizing the opposition where they're looking to go most of the time, and we're trying to stay over top of that as much as possible, make them go to plan C or plan D, and that's probably been the best part of it.
The second goal with Kyle Connor, it's a rebound, and he quickly makes a move there to score and get around Lincoln. And just his ability to react on plays and those quick moves, like how much do you think that's contributed to his all-around game kind of progressing, whether it's on the penalty kill, defensively, and just his reads and how he's reacting and weaponizing his natural skills?
Yeah, his hockey IQ is off the charts, and I think that's where a lot of it comes from. When he has the puck, he's got ice in his veins when he does stuff. I think that, the other side of it, where we like him on the PK, is his anticipation. He recognizes maybe where that next play is going, probably because he plays on the power play. And but he's real good at anticipating plays. And whether that's Gabe picking off that pass in the corner and him darting, getting to the net front all alone by himself, like the goal you mentioned. It's just that ability to recognize what the next play is going to be, and he's kind of almost like he's one step ahead of it.
As a coach, like obviously the shot and his raw skills appeal to you like anyone else, but do you almost find yourself being the most impressed with that hockey sense?
I didn't know about it until I got here, and then I've seen it over the last few years. I think it's part of his drive that drives him every shift. He wants to score every shift. He wants to get 7 goals a game, and that's what those top players, those guys that are true goal scorers. That's what they want. They want to score every time they get the puck on their stick, and he's driven like those guys are.
What do you like about the Kupari Perfetti line tonight?
That was a really good line, and I was waiting for you guys to ask me about that. But I thought they were really good. I really did. I thought they were good. I liked a lot of how they Coop used his speed, but then Nino used his size. Fetz used his hockey IQ and vision, and it was a good chemistry there, and it was nice to see all the lines actually were getting some opportunities, especially making plays. And that line, we threw it together the other night, and I thought tonight they were real good.
Your second and third line kind of have, like the really good defensive guy, the guy who's a good mix of offense and defense, and then the guy who's got that skill up front. Is there something about that trio that is working with both those two lines?
Well, I think there's one of everything on that line. Coop's got the speed and they can skate, and you got Nino's size, and he knows to get to the net front. And like I just mentioned there, Fetz has got the ability to make plays, hold on to pucks, and I thought they did a good job of not getting away from each other. I thought they did a good job of staying close to each other. Then they cycled, they interchanged. They were help stay up with real good support to create the next play. And theirs was a little different. They got the first one. They did a great job on the forecheck. Got it back to P, and he pounded it. The Nino one that was put the puck to the net. I think Coop shot at the net, and then it's typical Nino, go to the net and create the havoc, and might be a greasy goal, but that's the ones he likes to score. Thanks. Yep, thanks.
There he goes, Winnipeg Jets head coach Scott Arniel, joining us tonight on the Illegal Curve post-game show, live from the Matt Frost Media Center. The Illegal Curve post-game show brought to you by our friends at Play Now. Learn to bet with Play Now, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. You know what? My main takeaway, we're going to get into the goal-by-goal recap here momentarily, but my takeaway from that press conference is just how ho-hum the Winnipeg Jets consider their performance tonight. You go out there, you win 6-1. You have a 6-0 lead in this game, and the Jets really just were like, it's what we expect. That's the sort of the attitude and the takeaway. Not arrogant, not egotistical, but that the Jets are like, yeah, this is what happens when we play at our best. Sometimes we shut out the Colorado Avalanche 3-0, and sometimes we lambaste the Vancouver Canucks 6-1. That, to me, is just the sign of a team, Ezzy, that is just filled with confidence and filled with the knowledge that when they play at their best, not very many teams in this league can match them.
Yeah, and now it's 9-1 in the last 2 games, big 3-0 win over the Avalanche, and then obviously, as you just mentioned, 6-1 tonight. So yeah, there is, I think, a lot of confidence in the Jets right now. Things are going very well, and they needed these 2 wins, guys. Right? Like they had only won one of their first 4 games, and now they have an opportunity on the homestand, I should say, and now they have an opportunity to win 5 of 8 games on this homestand. Right? So they've turned it around after. I think the most disappointing loss was the loss to the LA Kings, where the LA Kings just gave a masterclass on how to shut the Jets down defensively, but then the Jets responded with a big win over the Avalanche, shutting the Avalanche and their big guns out. And then tonight, from really puck drop, the Jets were the better team. And I thought, guys, and yeah, I know we're going to get into the goals in the Play Now game recap. This wasn't a goal that I was going to reference, but when the Canucks had that early power play, and if you remember Adam Lowry had the breakaway.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't score, but I thought that the Jets generated a lot of momentum off of that penalty kill. And Dave has talked about this a lot. If the penalty kill can start to improve, and it has of late, the Jets have been very good on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
We're not asking for the Jets to have the number 1 penalty kill in the league, but in a game like tonight, I mean, they killed off another penalty in the 3rd period. But I just wanted to mention that I thought that when Adam Lowry had that breakaway, that penalty kill was, you wouldn't say it was a crucial part of the game, but the Jets, obviously, Kyle Connor scored shortly after, and then he scored another 2 after that. And then, obviously the game was over basically after the first.
Yeah, we talked about the penalty kill and the improved penalty kill this afternoon when we were live at City Place for the illegal special edition of the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, Dave. And we talked about it that, coming into this game, 17th, this was a penalty kill that was in the 20s. And it's really since that Nashville game last Tuesday, a week ago. No, it's only been a week, but this penalty kill is all of a sudden, I think it's given up one goal in the last 12 or 13 opportunities. They haven't given up a goal since they gave up that Philip Forsberg goal.
That was the last one.
Predators when the game was
the Red Wings had 2 against them, but they've tightened it up since then.
Right, and that's now that Dylan Sandberg's back, you get to see the impact of him. So you have a penalty kill that was a little bit of a problem area, hasn't been over the last week. The power play only got the 3 opportunities tonight. Well, they scored a power play goal. So again, when the special teams are rolling and the 5-on-5 is rolling for this Winnipeg Jets team, they're a hard team to beat, and you saw that tonight, Dave.
Well, apparently someone in the press box was telling me tonight that one of the Canucks guys is like, oh, the Jets are a perfect match. They're all PDO. They're blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know about that. If they're a perfect match for the Canucks, I'd hate to see a imperfect match. But, and especially because one of the things I was going to mention, Ezzy, was this team could have scored 10 more goals tonight. Kyle Connor missed a couple of ones. You referenced the Adam Lowry shorthanded, which was the best chance on that power play for the Canucks, not the Jets, of course. So there was another play where I don't remember who made the pass, but Lowry on the 2-on-1, but Lowry held it and then took the shot rather than one-timing it, which probably would have been, if it's anybody else, probably in the back of the net. So there were a lot of chances for the Winnipeg Jets to score a number of goals in this hockey game. They scored enough for us to talk about, of course, on the game recap, but it was 2 things can be true at once. It was a pretty poor performance by the Vancouver Canucks, and it was also a good performance by the Winnipeg Jets.
No question about it. Let's get into the nitty-gritty details. We go goal by goal like we do here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's called the Play Now Game Recap.
The Play Now Game Recap.
Don't bet on illegal sites. Bet with Play Now instead. Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. Big thanks to our friends at Play Now. They're the title sponsor here of the Illegal Curve post-game show. They're the title sponsor of all of our programs, including, of course, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. The Jets get off to a good start for the second consecutive game. It was about a minute and a half in against the Avs when Nikolai Ehlers scored. Tonight, it's 6 minutes and 59 seconds in. Now, the goal is Kyle Connor's 24th, assist to Gabe Vilardi and Kevin Lankinen. Great setup by Lankinen, putting the puck right on Vilardi's stick. Vilardi right across the ice to Kyle Connor into the empty net. Bad start for the Vancouver Canucks. Excellent start for the Winnipeg Jets. It got worse from there from the Canucks. But I just don't know what Lankinen is really trying to do in this instance. It's just like he saw Vilardi and he just gave it to Vilardi, and then, of course, couldn't get back in the net quickly enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously an egregious giveaway by Kevin Lankinen, right? But Mark Scheifele has pressure on Filip Hronek, and we should mention that I know you guys talked about this on the pregame show at City Place, but that's his first game since late November, right? Mm-hmm. So, obviously a horrible way to come back to the lineup, right, guys? But it's almost like Kevin Lankinen should have just stayed in his net because everything about this was just ugly. Like, he could see that Scheifele was coming with pressure on Hronek, and then he goes out there to quickly play the puck, and then he just puts it exactly where Gabe Vilardi is. And, good on Kyle Connor, obviously, who knows where to go once he sees what's happening. And it's a beauty pass by Gabe Vilardi, but I'm not, like you said, Drew, I'm not really sure what Lankinen, what was the best outcome that could have happened by him playing the puck there? It just, everything about that was way too high risk, low reward.
Well, is he trying to get it to Quinn Hughes and he misses Quinn Hughes? I'm watching the replay here on my second screen as we go through this, and I just don't see what he sees. I mean, you're right. It's probably not a good decision to go out there and try and play the puck there with Scheifele bearing down and Hronek right there as well, or Hronek, pardon me. I just don't know what Lankinen sees here, and so. Does he panic and does he just try and fire it along the boards? Maybe, but that doesn't really work well when Gabe Vilardi is just standing there. Just not like he Velarde's in the right position, but it's not like he had to make a superhuman play to get there and then set up Kyle Connor for the easiest goal Connor's going to score this year. Just a perplexing decision by the Canucks on this one.
Yeah, like if anything, he should have just eaten the puck there.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he sees that Gabe Vilardi has position in the corner there. Like he's got the boards covered. Like he'd have to put the puck really high to get it past Gabe Vilardi there, or you just don't play that puck period, or you go around the other side, but then obviously there's nobody there on the other side. It just was very poor puck management by Kevin Lankinen. But again, credit to the Jets who jump on that. Vilardi identifies that Connor's going to the net, and Connor obviously has a very easy opening goal, Dave.
Well, the only thing I would add to your observations and Drew is the fact that it was funny because we were watching again in the press box, and Mike McIntyre and I both went ooh, because you could see it kind of like you could see what was happening, and as soon as I saw Vilardi get it, and I was like, oh well, it's like one of those almost inevitable. You felt like the goal was going to happen, and like as he said, Kyle Connor can score at the best times with the goalie in the net. When there's no goaltender, he ain't making a mistake. But it was as soon as that error was made, you thought, well, that's a sign that Winnipeg is ready to jump on their throats, take advantage of mistakes made, and then give yourself an early 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and the Jets didn't waste any time making it 2-0, a 13:01 mark of the first period. You'll hear his name a lot as we go through the first period of this goal-by-goal recap. Kyle Connor, his 25th of the year, assist to Neil Pionk and Gabe Vilardi. What you like about this one, he doesn't get an assist, but it starts with a nice play by Dylan Samberg back in the Jets zone. He headmans it up to Connor, and then Connor to Vilardi to Pionk, and then Connor is the second wave coming back to collect the rebound. Again, if you're Vancouver, you see that, Kyle Connor's getting on his horse, and then Elias Pettersson just doesn't match the energy expended by Kyle Connor, and as a result, after the puck jumps over Vilardi's stick, who's in prime position initially on the rebound, Connor's there to pick up the loose trash, and it's just good play on the Jets being on their toes, and just poor defensive coverage from the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, no, it's exactly it's a bad rebound, but obviously it's the Noah Juleson, Carson Soucy. That's the third pair for the Canucks, and they just don't pick up Kyle Connor. And Gabe Vilardi obviously is the one who comes over to the blue line and drops the puck to Neil Pionk, and he goes to the net. So you have obviously Vilardi and Connor going to the net, but it's just nobody is picked up here. Right. So, I mean, the Canucks are backing up.
They skate.
Exactly. The rebound, a big juicy rebound comes out, and there's nobody there. So obviously, Johnny on the spot for Kyle Connor, but also the Canucks just made it way too easy for the Jets to enter the zone, take the shot, get the rebound. And obviously, things were not looking good for the visitors at that point.
No, I mean, just really, pitiful.
You got the feeling the Jets were going to have, I think, Dave, you were there, and you were getting the feeling that after that goal, you obviously didn't know the third one was coming as quick as it did, right?
I did not.
But you got the feeling that, okay, this is going to be a night for the Jets.
Well, I can tell you, though, I didn't know that the third one was going to come then, but I will say, as you saw, I did tweet, it may be time to figure out who the 5-goal guy is tonight, because it did feel like it was going to be that kind of night for Kyle Connor, because you could just see the way they were skating. There was, again, like I said, and sometimes you get a sense as to how a game is going to go, but I agree, as once that he got that one, I thought, okay, well, this doesn't look good for the Vancouver Canucks, and it's going to look like a good night for the Winnipeg Jets, most likely.
Let me ask you guys a question before we get on to the third goal here. It's sort of a philosophical question. As all of you who are tuned into the Illegal Curve post-game show know, on every edition of this program, we do what's called the Seagram shot of the game, where we usually reward it to the best shot that results in a goal. Does it have to be a shot philosophically, fundamentally?
No,
Doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be.
Okay, so as he votes for it, doesn't have to be a shot. It can be really just an exceptional play that results in a goal. Dave, do you agree with Ezzy, or does it have to be, a real shot, a blast from the point, or a wicked wrist shot from the slot, or can it be as something as simple as a beautiful deke where the goalie is left, holding his jockstrap?
It's a fair question, Drew, and I believe it was actually one that I posed on this group a couple of days ago or a couple of games ago, because I think there was some controversy, not necessarily controversial, but
There was some controversy.
yes, there was something
dear.
that where I had suggested that maybe, it didn't need to be a shot, and and I think I also was talking it didn't need to necessarily be a Jets shot. I know you didn't like that suggestion.
That's
but
right. That was the I think that was the Kings game, was it not?
yeah, but we were also talking about whether it needed to be a shot or not. But hot or not, shot or not. But anyways, the point is that
A deke
I don't
is a shot, though, right? Like, it doesn't have to be like a big wind up slapper or like,
But I would advocate if the guy gets a hat trick, I would save it for the hat trick personally. But that's just me.
Okay, and I'll tell you what. If you score a natural hat trick on a breakaway deke, you're going to get this shot of the game. We can debate further, off air, so we don't have to subject everyone.
Especially when it's a natural hat trick and the three
Right.
goals happen in 6.5 minutes.
That's right. Okay, that seems reasonable. In that case, the Jets' third goal, which comes at the 13:37 mark of the first period, 36 seconds after they made it 2-0, is our Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. In celebratory fashion, perhaps you're choosing Seagram's VO, integrity, tradition, and craftsmanship. Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. The Seagram shot of the game goes to Kyle Connor, the natural hat trick, the third fastest natural hat trick in Winnipeg Jets history. So this courtesy of our good friend Judy Owen of the Canadian Press. This was the third fastest hat trick by a member of the Winnipeg Jets. The fastest one was back in 2017 when Blake Wheeler scored 3 goals in a span of 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And then last year, Sean Monahan, I believe this is the one in a losing effort in Calgary.
Calgary, it was.
Yeah, he had a natural hat trick in 5 minutes and 17 seconds. So tonight, the Jets, Kyle Connor gets the natural hat trick and the Seagram shot of the game. And on this one, again, if you're in the Elias Pettersson camp or the JT Miller camp, you're pointing at Elias Pettersson on that second goal and saying, see, he's the problem. But if you're in the Elias Pettersson camp, you're pointing at JT Miller on this third goal and saying, he's the problem for the Vancouver Canucks. Somehow, Kyle Connor, despite
Kyle Connor's actually the problem. He was the problem all period for the Winnipeg Jets. But no, I mean, this is JT Miller. Tyler Myers goes for a skate. He's caught up a little bit.
Yeah.
And Kyle Connor puts the rocket boots on.
Yeah.
And JT Miller doesn't even see him. And he needs to cover Drew for Tyler Myers there. And by the time he realizes that Kyle Connor is behind him, it's too late. And we need to focus on the move here, guys, though, and what Scott Arniel said, and also what Kevin Sawyer asked Kyle Connor about. It's just like when Kyle Connor's in that type of situation, like I often think about, like, if you're a goaltender, you must be, soiling your pants when you see a Kyle Connor coming down there and he does his triple deke, his quadruple deke, right, Dave? But obviously just a special night for Kyle Connor. I mean, 3 goals, natural hat trick, just incredible. But I mean, this goal, it's either this goal, pick which goal you want to pick, but it's either this goal or the fourth goal that really summed up the game, because the Canucks were just asleep. And on the fourth goal, we'll get into it here, but like, you just can't let that happen in a hockey game. And it was Quinn Hughes who was obviously victimized on the Jets' fourth goal. But on this particular goal, yeah, JT Miller just, I mean, he's not increasing his trade value with plays like that.
Well, and no, I was just going to say, and like Kyle Connor, as he's right, when he is feeling it like this, it is hard to stop him. I mean, he and Mark Scheifele, well, we'll get into why he and Mark Scheifele are tied for, I think, third in the NHL in goals right now with 26. But, he's they're both on pace for just a shade under 50. He, of course, is on pace for over 100, close to 108 points, I think, this season. Be the first Jets 2.0 player to be able to break that. But he's a special player. I mean, just like so many of these guys that we've talked about. And just before the 2 goals, the Jets honored Connor Hellebuck, of course, for being named the first star of the week on Monday, and it was kind of funny. I don't know if they showed it on the commercial during the commercial break, but Hellebuck is, thanked, and he's being, the crowd is cheering him on. And then you see him kind of do this extra little flourish as he kind of like does like almost like a flying leap into his post or into his crease. So there was a lot of excitement. But look, Kyle Connor is a special player, and you see it night in, night out with these types of moves, these types of plays. Scores the goal. We saw it actually defensively too. There was an instance where I don't remember if it was on the power play, or I think it was on a Jets power play, where the puck came loose and the Canucks were going the other way, which would have been an odd man rush, and he got on his wheels and got back in the play to break it up. So he is, when he's playing this type of game, I mean, he was almost, when he was talking to Sarah afterwards, he really wasn't trying to take too much credit, but he deserves a lot of it because, 6 hat tricks for him, which actually, it's funny. Mark Scheifele has 10. Seems almost low for Kyle Connor to have 6, but yeah, the natural hat trick is significant. And the other thing we should mention is Gabriel Velarde. I mean, with 3 assists on the first 3 goals for the Winnipeg Jets, he hits his career high in 18 fewer games than he did for the LA Kings in the 22-23 season. So, I mean, he's looking, he never eclipsed the 20 assist mark, boys. He got to 22 after tonight's game. And like I said, he matches his career high in assists or goal in points, with 41 in his 45th game. So, he's playing well. Velarde's playing well. I mean, Scheifele's playing well. Connor's playing well. The whole team was playing well today, but specifically that top line continues to roll.
And Drew, if I could just add something really quickly here,
please.
This line was criticized a lot last year, right? And by us included, right? Especially the way they played defensively, 5-on-5, right? Yeah. And what we're seeing really is this is a special season that they're putting together, guys. Sure. Like this is just incredible to watch. Like you can really, I think, and this is maybe an exercise for the Saturday morning show, but you could really, I think, put this line up against most lines in the NHL. Like obviously, the McKinnon line, there's some pretty good lines across the NHL, but what this line is doing right now is it really is incredible. Like Dave's talking about, like Velarde setting career highs, Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele, like they're on pace to have career years, right? I believe, I guess Connor had that 91-point season. I don't know if he's on pace to break that, but
he's on pace for 107, boy.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, it's really incredible. I think that, we're being treated to some fantastic hockey, and tonight was no exception.
The line has 2 of the top 5 goal scorers in the NHL on it.
Right,
I
exactly.
Mean,
and when have we been able to say that? We haven't been able to say that since, I don't know, back in 2017-18, right?
Even then, I don't think they ever had that many.
I was going to say, like,
top 5 goal scorers on the same line. I mean,
that's actually not been a hallmark of this Jets team. They've been a collectively good team. They've been a team that has survived because, of course, Connor Hellebuck. They haven't been a big scoring team. They have never had, think about it, in the history of the Winnipeg Jets since their return in 2011, they've never had a guy crack 100 points, right? Wheeler's gotten to 90 something. Connor's gotten to 90 something.
I think it's going to happen this year, Dave. Like I wouldn't bet against it.
I would definitely not take that bet against it either, but I'm just saying that.
Play now will take it for sure.
You might have 250 goal scorers on the same line.
Right.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility by any stretch.
Which, further to the point made by Josh Morrissey, again, if you didn't hear that, listen to it on our YouTube channel. But what was he talk? What were the takeaways from his comments? And I'm not going to paraphrase him. I will to a certain degree, but the idea was just don't miss out on these opportunities. Okay. I believe we have the best team since that run 27-18. So all that means is we have to work harder every single day to keep pushing, keep building through the second half and not waste this opportunity. He also said in a question about how hard it is to, when you have a good team, Ezzy, and to push, to not take it for granted, because remember, they went to the Western Conference Finals in 17-18. You think we're always going to do this.
Right.
It's been 7 years since then. So he ended his answer in response to that was, when you have good opportunities, you definitely can't waste them.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
The Jets
Something for Kevin
weren't-
Cheveldayoff to think about, actually.
They weren't wasting their opportunities tonight. 3-0 after 20 minutes, 4-0 after 20 minutes and 39 seconds. Neil Pionk, his 6th of the year, assist to Cole Perfetti and Nino Niederreiter. And Ezzy, you talked about it. You got Lankinen giving up a terrible decision on the first goal for the Canucks. You have Elias Pettersson looking bad on the second goal. You have JT Miller looking bad on the third goal, and you have Quinn Hughes looking bad on the fourth goal for the Vancouver Canucks.
It's unreal.
So, Quinn Hughes shies away from the contact from Cole Perfetti. With all due respect,
Big bad Cole Perfetti.
Yeah, I don't recall that being his nickname, but Quinn Hughes.
Did Eric Lindros enter Cole Perfetti's body? Because the way Quinn Hughes played that puck, it was like the guy was 6'4", 230 pounds. It was unbelievable. And like you said, Drew, JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, these are the Canucks' top 3 players, and they're all making these awful mistakes and just playing with zero passion. And zero urgency. That goal was, stick a fork in them at that point. It was unbelievable. You were thinking after the first period, you knew that the Jets pretty much had the game locked up. The chances of the Canucks scoring 4 goals on Hellebuck were pretty slim, right? But like you said, 39 seconds into the second period, and that's the type of breakout that they have. It's just unbelievable.
It's just utterly soft. The puck goes from Perfetti at the point to Pionk. It's a good shot by Neil Pionk, but you have to make the save. You're down 3-0.
You got to give credit to the screen, though. The screen was
the screen's good, but you still have. Dave, this is an NHL goaltender has to make this save for your team in this situation. This isn't a 5-alarm golden opportunity. It's just emblematic of how bad the Vancouver Canucks were tonight.
No, you're right.
To bottom.
It's a weak goal. Everything about the goal is weak, Dave. Right?
Yeah, no. I'm not. Again, I'm not.
You're not. I was surprised Lankinen wasn't pulled afher that. Actually,
well, you know what? I think at some point in time, Rick Tocchet just says that
let's
guys,
get through this.
You're gonna wear this. You're gonna, you're just gonna have to weather this. You're gonna have to wear it. You're the backup goaltender to Demko. You're just gonna have to sit there and be shellacked tonight as a result.
But I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure everyone. I think all 4 of the 5 guys touch the puck, right? Neil Pionk is the one who breaks it out and or gets the puck up, I should say. And yeah, look, I just thought to myself, well, first of all, I said, are the Jets allowed to score a goal if it's not Kyle Connor scoring? It's kind of, a tree falls in the forest, Ezzy. But the fact of the matter is, credit to the Winnipeg Jets, because instead of taking their foot off the gas and resting on their laurels and saying, okay, well, we got a 3-0 lead, we're going to cruise. We may give up another one, but we've got this one.
And sometimes those leads can be dangerous, right, Dave? You can get up 3 goals and then you can find it. You can fall.
Well, for sure. Look, if you give up
type of
especially
hockey,
with 40 minutes to go in the game,
well, I was going to say
a lot of hockey to play.
If you give up 1 and it's 3-1 after 2, even.
Yeah.
They score an early one in the third, and then suddenly that game, the nature of the game changes. So for Winnipeg to be aggressive, and you're right. When you watch, let me tell you, it's one of those games where they're going to have to watch a lot of tape, because a lot of guys, as you guys, we've broken down throughout the first 4 goals already, lots of mistakes were made. You're not even just not clearing Kupari from the lane is a mistake, right? So there were a number of mistakes made. You're right. The Hughes shying away from the contact on Cole, big bad Cole Perfetti is very unusual. And it was just, like I said, it's just and the other thing also is, again, Neil Pionk adding to his career year. I think it was his 6th goal. He's up to 28, 29 points. So a lot of guys are just continuing to produce. And the Jets, you could just sense the fact that it was within a minute of was it 57 seconds into the period, Drew?
I think it was even
something like that.
39 seconds.
39, so even quicker than that. And that just, like you said, it was already it was already stick a fork in them, but it was over. The 4-0, I thought we could start the game recap right then and there, because there was 0% chance that was. I would have been willing to give a Ginsburg guarantee that there was no chance that the.
Well, I stole your pretzels gift tonight, Dave.
Did you?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
his, about here come the pretzels. That's
I
the
know,
way
but
to
it's,
put it.
I always say there go the pretzels or something like that. So
Yeah,
I think I've modified it and killed
That's
it.
what I'm
to be
saying. I
honest with you.
stole it, but I think on a night like tonight, you were happy to give it to me.
Absolutely. I'm always happy to share with you.
Jets make it 5-0 at the 15:06 mark of the second period, and it's Nino Niederreiter from a bad angle, just because he wants the puck more. He just wins the battle. He gets the inside position. He's not content to be on the perimeter here, even though it's a 4-0 game, and with a few minutes to go in the second period. He's intent, like we've seen from Nino Niederreiter throughout his time here in Winnipeg. He wants to get where he needs to go, and that's always the front of the net, or in this case, sort of the side of the net. And he banks it in off of Lankinen. Tyler Myers and Derek Forbort are the two former Winnipeg Jet defensemen who are getting exposed on this one a little bit. But it's just, again, another example of the Winnipeg Jets wanting it more and being harder to play against than the Canucks are. I mean, that's the story of tonight's game, is that Vancouver was as soft can be, and the Jets were a much more difficult team to play against, and Vancouver wilted at the threat of the Winnipeg Jets. Niederreiter here makes it 5-0 late in the second period.
And right before that goal was scored, like 10 seconds before that goal was scored, Niederreiter had a big hit, like a big boy hit on, I think it was Connor Garland.
Yes, right, it was. It pissed Garland off, as he
right at center ice. And obviously Garland's not a big player,
you would
whereas
think the 4-0
Niederreiter
deficit would piss him off more.
But Drew, you nailed it, right? Like this sequence is just the Jets wanting it more, like effort. Like where was the effort from the Canucks tonight? Like Mike McIntyre, our good friend, like he put it out there on X/Twitter. The Canucks look like they didn't want to play hockey tonight. And this is what these guys do for a living, right? And yes, it's the end of a 5-game road trip, but I agree with Dave. That's just an excuse. It was the last game of a road trip, and you beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-0 or 2-0 or whatever it was, right? So
on a day they had to fly into Toronto the day of the game because of the weather problems in Carolina where they were coming from.
Right.
I mean, that to me, if you can play like that against the Leafs on Saturday night, and then you play like this in Winnipeg tonight, I don't care at the end of the road trip and everything. That's a sign that you're just a selfish hockey team. That's all that is. A selfish arrogant hockey team.
Just selfish and just a mentally fragile team. Sure. Like this Canucks team, I know this gets thrown around a lot, guys, but they look like they have a lack of an identity. They look like they're not really playing together. Like they don't look like a cohesive unit. Well, it just looked like 20 guys kind of playing out there. What were they doing? What were they trying to accomplish tonight? And on this goal, you're completely right, Drew. Like Nino Niederreiter, after he has the big hit on Garland, the puck comes up to him, and Tyler Myers just kind of lets him skate by and get the. Or pardon me, was it Tyler Myers? I forget if it was Tyler Myers.
Myers
it might have been Forbort. It was Forbort though that Niederreiter went to the net, and Forbort Niederreiter's a big boy. I mean, he's a hard guy for any defenseman to handle. But Derek Forbort just doesn't get enough body on him, and he just out muscles him to the net. Like sometimes you can just simplify a goal down to Niederreiter out muscles Derek Forbort and just gets the second chance, right? So I agree with what you said earlier, Drew. The Jets they wanted it more than the Canucks, and that's what you got to love too, right? The Jets are already up 4-0 at that point. It's late in the second period, and they kept coming. That's what you love to see, I think, if you're the team and if you're a Jets fan.
Well, and I'll just going to add quick, because I thought Nino Niederreiter had, like, I don't want to say a burr in his saddle, but he just seemed to be, there was something about his game tonight. I just noticed that he looked like a guy who was into it. I don't know why, but I just watching him play tonight, and maybe it's these new look lines. Maybe everything seems to be working for them, but like I said, I
got to be honest, Dave. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I like the lines.
Well,
I like the way these lines look right now.
We talked about it on this afternoon at City Place, and I think we'll talk about it. Well, we'll see what happens after Thursday's game, but I think it's a significant conversation that might happen on Saturday morning when we have time to really delve deeper into the makeup of everything. The Illegal Curve Hockey Show every Saturday, 9 a.m. here on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms. Reminder to everybody that's tuned in, there's a ton of you watching tonight, so that's terrific. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button. If you're new here, welcome. We do this after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. We do this again on Saturday mornings. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you'll get alerted each and every time we go live, so you'll never miss a minute of what we do here on Illegal Curve.
Okay, so, but the only other thing I was going to add is, and it's somewhat significant, is that with the assist on that goal, Cole Perfetti gets to 100 for his career. And we were talking about needing more from Cole Perfetti, and it does seem, again, I'm not going to take
100 assists or 100 points?
No, I said 100 points.
Okay, sorry.
He's growing up right
I said
before
with
our
the
eyes,
with
guys.
that. I think what I said was with the assist, he gets to 100 points. But maybe I didn't. Maybe I said 100 at the assist. But no, he's got 100 points in his career. So that wasn't. But it was more just the fact that he's doing some things the right way. And I don't think of him as a line driver. But I still, as I've said, I still think he can be a very good complementary player on a line, even with whether it's a second line or a third line, doesn't really matter.
Refresh, Dave. Like he seems like there's less pressure, like there's like a weight off of his shoulders. The way
which is what Drew said this afternoon as he was at maybe with that reduced sort of expectation.
No, I'm starting to sound like Drew. That's an issue.
I know you might want to consult with a medical professional immediately.
But I think the greater point that the three of us, and I think many in the chat are realizing, is that so far this kind of new look Winnipeg Jets lineup, and we don't know, we'll see what happens tomorrow when they practice at noon. And I know we've still got some game to go here, but we'll see if they change things up, because, teams are generally loath to make changes when things are working. And this team right now, this is working very well when you've got a 9-1 score advantage against, well, one was a very good hockey team, no excuse for Colorado, and the Canucks didn't look like a very good hockey team, boys, but they still are a middling team. Like they're still a, middle of the pack team fighting for
2 points out of a playoff spot.
And remember, this, as we said on the show this afternoon, Drew, I mean, this was going to be a game that was important for Vancouver because Calgary was winning, and you've got those teams that you don't really want to give teams an opportunity to get ahead of you. Right? You need to bank those points. The Jets, we talk about how tight the Central was. This is another big win for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
5-0 for the Winnipeg Jets. They make it 6-0 at the 1:31 mark of the third period. It takes all of 9 seconds after Tyler Myers takes a hooking penalty to start the period. Took 9 seconds. How many times have we seen the Jets power play score within the first 10, maybe 20 seconds of a power play opportunity this year?
Short answer, a lot.
A lot.
Yes.
Exactly right. And again, we know the Jets power play is deadly. So, kudos to them. But look at Vancouver's coverage here.
Yeah.
It's like they had no pre-scout and about the Winnipeg Jets and their penalty and their power play setup. This is like the Jets doing this in practice against a junior B team. The way the Canucks just let Connor take the puck, pass it down to Nikolai Ehlers. Everybody in the arena knew exactly what the Winnipeg Jets were trying to do here, except apparently the Vancouver Canucks. And it's off Ehlers' stick onto Scheifele's stick, off of Scheifele's stick into the back of the net in a blink of an eye. And again, just further damning evidence regarding the performance of the Vancouver Canucks, not to take anything away from the excellence of the Winnipeg Jets in tonight's contest. Just tremendous by the Jets, woeful by the Canucks, and this goal made it 6-0.
Yeah, and obviously this could have been a contender for Seagram's shot of the game if it wasn't for Kyle Connor's natural hat trick, and for the fact that this goal was completely meaningless in the game because the game was already over. But yeah, I mean, you guys know that I love those triangulation plays, right? And Nikolai Ehlers is on the left point, and then he sneaks in, and then you've got the Kyle Connor, Ehlers, Scheifele triangle of death there. And we know that those, when they've got the motion going, and you've got a situation where you could go to Ehlers or you could go to Scheifele. It's just pardon me. Yeah, if you could go to Ehlers, you can go to Scheifele. Plus, you've got Velarde net front there.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. We had John Goyens on, I guess, a couple of months ago now, and he broke that down. Gabe Velarde is such a dangerous threat, but when you have guys coming in and out of the bumper, and you have guys that are at the point, but then they move down to the goal line, and players that can execute at a high level, right, Dave? So Drew's absolutely right. I mean, the Jets power play, like they're not messing around. They're scoring in the first 10, 15, 20 seconds of the power play. And like we said, I mean, this goal, it's not an insurance goal. It's a goal. It's a garbage time goal, but you still like to see it. You like to see, like, it's not like there's a mercy rule in the NHL. You like to see them going out there and taking advantage and scoring on their power play.
Well, and worth mentioning before on the two previous power plays, Ville Heinola got some touches, I think, on at least one of them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, that Scott O'Neill talked about, maybe give him a little more confidence in his play. But this power play is just ridiculous. Like, you can see why teams coach not to take penalties, but I would agree with Ezzy's assertion that how a pre-scout wouldn't have told you not to leave those areas open is a little bit beyond me, because you just can't give the Jets that kind of time and space. It's going to end up in the back of your net. It does. Mark Scheifele has 26 goals. As a result, Kyle Connor has himself a 4-point night. So, and Jets fans they're feeling good. First of all, and I highlighted this comment, but I think it's worth mentioning again. It's twofold, actually. I heard it on the broadcast. First of all, it's the 10th time this season the Jets have scored 6 goals or more. That's ridiculous. And pretty impressive. Yeah, is that good, Ezzy?
Yeah.
The other thing that's amazing to me, I was a little incredulous when I heard it, was they matched the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are the other team who have scored 6 goals or more 10 times. That shocks me.
But Dave, they've also allowed 6 or more goals 10 times.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Those are usually in 7-6 losses, unlike the Jets. But still, I mean, it was surprising to hear that Columbus has scored that many times in a game. But like I said, I'm not surprised to hear the Jets won because of what they're doing. But once again, like, what's the Jets goal differential at this point? It's got to be,
I don't know,
plus 45.
I don't know.
Plus 53.
Okay. Well, so I was close, but prior to tonight's game, but yes, plus 53. Like, again, when Connor Hellebuck is doing what Connor Hellebuck is doing, folks, and the Jets are producing.
That's
and
the best
these lines
differential in the league, by the way, by 7 goals over the Capitals, and then beyond the Capital. So the Jets have 7 more, have a goal differential 7 better than the Capitals, and the Capitals have a goal differential 11 better than the 3rd place team, the Dallas Stars. So the Jets, so the difference in goal differential between the 1st place team, the Winnipeg Jets, and the 3rd place team, the Dallas Stars, is 18 goals, which tells you tells you 2 things. One, how good the Jets have been. Also, how good the Washington Capitals have been this year as well.
Yeah, and we've talked about how surprising the Capitals are. And we mentioned how it's amazing that all 3 teams involved in that trade, Ezzy, are having a ton of success, specifically the ones who ended up with the players traded, of course, the Velarde and Dubois one. But
it's known as the PLD love triangle, Dave.
Your love of geometry is coming through right now.
I've always loved.
You're John Ginsburg's son, and there's no doubt about that.
I've since a young age, I've been obsessed with triangles.
I believe that.
Everything's triangles with this guy.
That's why he eats spanakopita by the bowlful, because the triangle shape is what excites him the most. The Jets lose the shutout. We all know what happened. Nils Höglander scores his 3rd of the year. It's unassisted. It's not a great play by Logan Stanley. I think we can all, the chat has been taking care of the discourse on that one. I think we can probably move off of it pretty quickly. What's been said has been said.
It doesn't mean anything. You think Connor Hellebuck actually cares that his shutout was I really
probably a little bit.
I honestly don't think he cares. I really don't.
He could have had a seven shutout this season. I'm not saying don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's gonna go and beat the crap out of Logan Stanley, but I'm just saying that I think that he would have preferred to have a shutout if he could have. He should have made the save.
I agree. I just think what I'm saying is, I guess he'll take the big win over the shutout any day of the week, right? But obviously, Dave, he'd like to have his cake and eat it too. And I know Drew always eats his cake.
I always eat my cake. I don't necessarily always eat my vegetables, but I always eat my cake. And look, it's not a great play by Logan Stanley. We know, we've discussed it. We've broken it down. We just can't do it anymore, folks. The organization and the coaching staff are going to make the decisions that they make. If it continues to bite the Winnipeg Jets in the behind, well, that is, for better or worse, their decision to make. It's perplexing. It's not really understandable, but Hayden Fleury is very close to returning, so maybe it won't last for very much longer. Time will tell on that front.
And Colin Miller is back.
Colin Miller
as well.
They're getting healthy again on the back end.
All of a sudden, guys, and I heard, Dave mention this, Dylan Coughlin's played well. Yeah. He's a guy, when Hayden Fleury and Colin Miller are back, Dylan Coughlin is the guy who you assume is going to go down to the Manitoba Moose, right?
Well, because he can go. He hasn't been back up for 30 days, I don't think. So he can, and he hasn't played 10 games. I don't.
That's a good point. He doesn't have to clear waivers.
Yeah,
so
he won't have to clear waivers. So
that's why I said. That's why I said that to Doug earlier in the chat.
I really think he'd get picked up if he did have to clear waivers.
Well, at this point, he's, there's at least a body of work, over the last, 4 or 5 games that a team can point to.
I'm just saying that the likelihood is that the Jets are going to have Hayden Fleury back, and they're going to send Coughlin down before they have a chance of losing him, because they like him. They can know they can throw him in, and they're not going to want to lose him, so they'll send him to the Moose.
And there's no recallable waivers like there used to be after, many moons ago, where a player would have to clear waivers to come back up from the AHL to the NHL. In any event, it's a 6-1 Winnipeg Jet victory over the Vancouver Canucks. Complete, utter domination by the Jets as they become the first team so far this year in the NHL to reach the 30-win plateau. The Washington Capitals and the Vegas Golden Knights both at 29 wins. The Golden Knights missed out on that opportunity as they lost to the Nashville Predators tonight. So the Winnipeg Jets were the first in the NHL to get to 30 victories. When we come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show, I've seen a lot of comments in the chat that say we need to play Rick Tockett's post-game presser, Tocchet being the Vancouver Canucks head coach. So we'll do so after the commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you. The Illegal Curve post-game show rolls on this Tuesday night.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
Do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Center. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Center. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in 2 unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
This
January at Boston Pizza, every day is Pasta Tuesday. That means BP's famous pastas start at just $11.99 every single day. Create your own or go gourmet for just a few bucks more. Come on in for Pasta Tuesday pricing any day. Only this January at Boston Pizza.
Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manuke, Ezra Ginsburg with you, talking about the Winnipeg Jets victory over the Vancouver Canucks, a handy victory, 6-1, handing the Canucks an embarrassing defeat. Their head coach, the Canucks head coach, Rick Tocchet, was none too happy with his team's performance tonight. God willing, this will work properly. Here's what the Canucks head coach had to say after tonight's game.
Errors at the start of the game, a tone setter that was just too hard to overcome for you?
Yeah, the three major blunders, right? I didn't actually mind her at first, but the three mistakes in the net. It's a good hockey club over there, and then obviously everybody on our team had a tough night. Yeah.
How do you process this one to try to move the ball forward?
Well, it's hard to be consistent, right? It's hard to do the right things all the time. It's hard. It's hard to go through people. It's hard to serve properly. It's hard to reload properly. It's hard to get the pucks out when we need to. It's hard to take pucks to the net, and you can't do it once in a while if you want to be a good team. That's really that's what it is.
Your team was able to do that last season, Rick. Do you think you can get them committed to do it again this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's my job. I got to get some guys committed. It's on me.
Frustrating is it to go back on the field trip with just 4 points out of the 10?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't mind the start. We had some pucks. We're getting pucks deflected. We got people take the puck to the interior. We're just missing early, and all of a sudden, bang bang, miscommunication. We don't reload properly, and then obviously the last half of the game, a little bit of fumbling around, but yeah, it's a good hockey team. They skate well. That's a fast team.
How did Roanoke look after 7 weeks off?
Yeah, I thought he was fine. I mean, it's tough to be out for 2 months, and so he was fine.
A couple tweaks on the power play with Lekkermacki up there. What was the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a good shot. See if we can get something going. Actually, we had some good movement there. Actually, both units, we just can't get the puck to the net quick enough. We're just too slow. We got to take a page out of Winnipeg. One pass, beat pressure, they attack. We got to start doing that.
There's Canucks head coach Rick Tocchet talking about his perception of tonight's game. Read between the lines. You don't have to read that. It's not that difficult to read between the lines there, what he's saying about his team, and he's talking about their effort, and he's talking about the demands that they need to put on themselves to demand more as individuals and demand more as their performance top to bottom tonight. He says, if the guys who are in the room aren't going to put forth the effort, he's going to have to find some players who will, which is some pretty damning commentary from the Canucks head coach.
Absolutely. And obviously you could hear the sarcasm in his voice, right, guys? And yeah, I mean, you know that he's not going to be happy not only with tonight's game, but the road trip as a whole. We talked about it. They lost 4 or 5 games. But going back to what we've kind of been talking about throughout tonight's post-game show, the Jets played really well tonight, but the Canucks also played that poorly, right?
Exactly.
Dave's right. The Jets could have had a couple more goals. This could have easily been like an 8-0, 8-1 game, or even worse. But some of those unforced errors and just how passive they were at times, both offensively and defensively, like there was just zero passion or urgency to their game. Mm-hmm. And this is a team, like we talked about, they're still in the playoff race. It's not like the Canucks are the Chicago Blackhawks. Like the Canucks can still make the playoffs, not if they play anything like that on a regular basis. So yeah, not surprised that Rick Tocchet wasn't happy after the game.
Yeah, no, justifiably upset Canucks head coach, justifiably happy Winnipeg Jets dressing room as they defeat the Canucks 6-1. They win their, second in a row on home ice, and they improve to 3-1-2 on this 8-game homestand with 2 more games to come Thursday night against the Seattle Kraken and then Saturday night against the Calgary Flames to wrap up what has been a significant stint on home ice. We're next in action, of course, on Thursday night after the Jets and the Kraken. That'll be about a 9:40 p.m. Illegal Curve post-game show, somewhere right around that time frame. So be back here on our YouTube channel. Be sure to join us then. Be sure to join us on Saturday morning. Smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Winnipeg Jets victorious 6-1 tonight. Big thanks to the sponsors of the Illegal Curve post-game show. They make this show, they make the Saturday show, they make the website a possibility. That is our friends at Play Now. They're the title sponsor of the program. Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Holt Dental, Boston Pizza. We'll be at Boston Pizza next Wednesday for the Jets and the Avalanche. So next Wednesday, live on location edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show and the Illegal Curve watch party. So Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, Wednesday the 22nd. Be sure to join us for that. Looking forward to getting together for that day, as well as our friends at City Place. We were there this afternoon. Always a great time. And Seagram's, they're the sponsor of the shot of the game and or the deke of the game when it relates to Kyle Connor and a natural hat trick. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Facebook page, and make Illegal Curve your number one destination for everything Winnipeg Jets related. For Dave Minuk in the top right, for Ezra Ginsburg in the bottom middle, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until Thursday at 9:45, we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.